Hello and welcome to Scrapping on the Fly. My name is Kristin and I'm here with day 4 of May I Scraplift You. And today on Crystal's list is Kim Ferguson, and it is Kim Ferguson Stamps on Instagram. And I thought this was such a neat layout and a great way to use up alphas, especially those loosey-goosey random ones you got left over. So that was my thought going in. And I decided I was going to use my Paige Evans Splendid, which is kind of tricky because my best friend's in this picture and I don't scrapbook with pink typically when I am documenting pictures with her, so it is a little hard with a collection like this, but we shall see how that goes. I have a paper pad. I have a full paper pad as well as this project pad. I have the chipboard, 2 sticker books, tons of ephemera, some of the flowers. I have lots of stuff for this collection. Tons of paper. And then I have these 3 distress oxides that I thought would go best with this collection and the colors I want to use. So I have my papers. I have lots of embellishments. I have my mixed media, my pictures, and this really cool layout. So let's see how this goes. So first things first, I'm going to pick my papers. And I knew I wanted to use this one because it's the only one that was more white based, and I really wanted to use papers from the collection instead of pulling in a white solid because I really need to use some papers up. So I don't have too many left in this project pad, but I have an entire book and there of the paper pad, and it is significantly full. But I had to be cautious because pink. So I start with, I think it was wilted violet, and then I bring in peacock feathers and a twisted citron. Those are the 3 colors I splattered all around on the background before I got started. I set it aside to cut my strips. So I picked this teal gold shimmery paper to be what she has on the sides as peach, and hers is a monochrome layout. And I love the color, but way too close to pink. So I'm just taking my paper towel down it to dab up any of the extra. So I cut my papers at 2.5 because that's kind of what it looks like, between 2 and 2.5 on hers. Did I take into consideration that my whole intent was to cover the top left and the bottom right? Maybe not. So I am problem solving in my head while I am creating this. It's fine. So originally I thought I would just do clusters, kind of where she has that 50 at the bottom. I was just going to do a cluster, which would cover the little typewriter. But there's alphas up at the top, so that wasn't going to work. I would not be able to use like a cluster there. That would have looked weird, I think, and would have taken away from that really neat alpha aesthetic. So I just add a little something, get more scraps used up, so it's a win-win. And I do love the way that this turned out, like a lot. So I add I don't know, 3/4 of an inch of torn paper from a scrap I had, and then she has that like dark scalloped bit about almost half of the way down the page. Now I don't put mine that far down, but I add that little bit right here up at the top, and then I'm going to flip this and do the other side pretty much the same way, except that little bit that's torn, that little lime green color, I'm actually going to add that to the bottom. Now she does not have that, and I didn't have to do that to cover the typewriter, even though you can still see bits and pieces down there when I'm done, but I am putting a cluster down there where she has that 50. So I knew that wasn't going to be a problem. That was my intention with that from the get-go, but So then they have a strip in the paper pad of just branding strips. And so I took this lime green one, and then I took the teal ruler and I put those down because I love A, the color, and B, this group of people all work in the schools, and so rulers make me think of school, so that's fine. And the funny thing is, I picked this because this layout specifically because I have so many loosey-goosey alphas that I need to get used. But in the end of things, I don't use loosey-goosey alphas. I built words. Now, I have done plenty of layouts in the past where I've done like clusters of alphas and just put like U's and Z's and all the letters that you don't use as often. But I actually loved the concept of spelling a bunch of different words. I believe based on what it looks like, she's done like the whole alphabet, which is really cool. And I am definitely going to use this concept to use up some of my loosey-gooseys. I am so sorry for my dog. He is barking at the neighbor, and I'm sure they appreciate that since it's like midnight. So anyway, so I just ended up spelling a bunch of words. Now you can't see the end of the word goofy, and you can't see the H in laugh or the E in game, but I don't care. A, I know it's there, and B, it's just neat looking. And I did end up changing friends up at the top to friendship and adding a little B at the end of it. And then I put some squares down there where it says lifetime, because the words were not long enough and I wanted to fill a little gap. So I put those little squares there. They are from the sticker book. And so I added that little bit of that same green torn paper up above the label I put down. And I am going to do some journaling, very short amount of journaling on that label. And I'm going to add some chipboard. So I did a little bit more embellishing than she did, but that's just because I have a ton of the stuff I've got to use. And I only pulled the things off that had no pink. So I get that stuff on there. And so she has this little tag here that's down in that little open section. And I had one that I thought I might use, but it was brown. And that did not suit well for me even before I got started and knew what I was doing. So I decided I was going to take this little piece of paper, says note to my friend or something like that, and the little envelope, and just build a cluster that kind of is the same thing. And I'm considered writing something on there, but since I journaled up at the top, I'm not sure I will. I do love the way that it ended up looking, and so I may just leave it alone. So I added a few little word phrases down here. And that yellow one that I just put down says yourself. So I put that little B before it, because I can definitely be myself around this group of ladies. I met all of them, well, minus my best good friend who was right behind me in the like cloudy looking shirt. But I met all of them when I first started working in the district, and we all worked at the same school. And then the one closest to the front went to a different school, but we are all such good friends that, of course, we're still together. And so now that I've left school, but the other four are still at the same school together, but we still get together. We try and do it once a month. This was in January. We were together in March. We got together in April. So we're doing pretty darn good considering how crazy our lives are. We almost 4 of the 6 of us have children, and all of us are married with crazy people. Well, I'm almost not married, but anyway. So I just think that it's important that you take the time to be with your friends and your family and your loved ones, because you never know what tomorrow brings. But anyway, I added all those fun things. I love how many embellishments I got on here. I really enjoy this layout and plan on using at least that concept with the alphas and everything. That may be a cut file now that I'm looking at it a little better. But anyway, I thought it was really fun and a really, really good way to use up alphas. So here it is close up. I am really enjoying May I Scraplift You again this year. Crystal selected 31 people who were willing to be scraplifted out of a bigger group than that, but she just randomly picked the first 31. And so I'm super excited that I'm finding some new people to follow and get inspired by. So I hope you'll go check out the list below. Go check out the people who we are scraplifting and get inspired by them as well if you'd like. And I hope you'll come back and see me again very soon. Have a great day and happy scrapping.